I just go ahead and splash on them.
A quick disclaimer, this is a very serious topic. Don't get me wrong, if I'm joking a lot around about like this topic in specifically and I'm like cracking stupid jokes and stuff like that, that's just who I am, especially when I'm talking about myself. So that's just how it is. When I'm talking about like other issues and stuff like that, I can try to be serious, but when it's about like me, how I feel, it's just like I'm gonna crack some jokes and be stupid. Okay, that's just how I'm gonna be. Okay, so just in case you guys think I'm not taking this seriously, I'm taking this extremely seriously, and that's why I'm filming this in the first place. Hello everyone, it's Kim, and I hope you guys are living long, strong, healthy, and happy. If this is your first time seeing my face, welcome to Thinking Out Loud, a place where I share college tips, life journey tricks, reflections, and a place where we can think out loud. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, for the past few weeks I have been feeling like complete trash. But I had a video planned where I was basically going to be talking about choosing your career path, and it was going to be this like happy-go-lucky, and I actually filmed it, by the way. It's been filmed, it's been done and everything like that, and it was going to be this happy-go-lucky with like rainbows and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, this video is probably going to be something like that where I'm going to be cracking jokes just because that's the type of person I am. And of course that video specifically is important in itself, but I felt like that video wasn't really reflective of how I was personally feeling and what needed to be talked about specifically during this time. So basically guys, you guys know the drill. If you guys are new to this channel, hello. Grab your juice, grab your soda, grab your kombucha, grab your wine, grab whatever will make you feel comfortable, because today we are going to be talking about how it is okay to not be okay. So initially when I realized that I didn't want to post the other video and I came up with this video idea, I was like, I don't want to film and say out loud that I'm not the happiest right now. And I was just kind of like, Kim, why don't I want to film something that's like very true and honest? And then I remember this video from The Courtroom. I'll insert her video like up here somewhere. You should go and watch it. I'm plugging her because one, I want her to continue filming, and two, because I love her videos, and two, it's a really important video that you guys should see, and it's just basically talking about things that we do not like to talk about out loud. And one thing she talked about in her video was that we don't like to talk about our emotions specifically is because we feel like we're gonna be perceived as weak or vulnerable. And honestly, I feel like I related to that so freaking much, because okay, so if you know me personally, you know that I'm this type of person that loves to like joke around. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I'm just goofy and I crack very stupid and interesting jokes. And I feel like sometimes when I'm in a bad mood or I feel like I'm in a very like stressful or bad situation, me saying that out loud and talking to people, I feel like I'm weaker or I'm more vulnerable. And so when it's like that, you're not telling people how you're feeling specifically. And it's like, I know we don't have to tell every single person that comes up in the room, like if you're talking to someone, you're like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna tell you about like, I'm going through this, and this. Like, no. But it's like, we don't want to feel so weak or vulnerable that it kind of falls over into something else that I actually learned recently during this very interesting week, was something that is called toxic positivity. And so basically what toxic positivity is, it's basically when you want to be so positive and happy during a negative situation that it jumps over to being insincere to yourself, dismissing those negative thoughts and the problem at stake, and it causes you harm, and it can also cause you like internal suffering. The funny thing about this is that because of the coronavirus pandemic and like this lockdown, we want to be so positive that it actually like ends up spilling over into toxic positivity. So basically a New York board certified psychiatrist, Margaret Said, she basically said that we are being bombarded with ideas about how this time should be used to write a novel or learn a new language or find our zen, that we are somehow failing if we are not doing these things. Now guys, being able to learn a new language, do all that extra stuff, I think that's amazing, and I think you guys should totally do that if you guys have the strength and will to do that. However, y'all, we are in the midst of our first ever pandemic. We are in the midst of a revolutionary movement happening right now, and I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter. And to add on to that, we also have our personal issues that is happening, okay? And that's why, specifically in my video that I made about how we can get through this pandemic physically and both mentally, I'm gonna insert it here, I specifically talked about how when you are ready and prepared to do all of those amazing things that you have in store, you should do it. And also in that video, I also talked about how it was very important for you to actually address the problems that you're dealing with, both your habits, emotionally and physically, that you should be able to, like, as I said, read books. Make sure you're able to take care of yourself as a person. If you are feeling depressed or if you're feeling these very specific thoughts, deal with them. And don't get me wrong, you hustling and grinding during this time is perfectly fine. It makes complete sense. I'm sitting here, I am hustling. I got my YouTube channel, I got classes. I have 2 classes going, 2 very intense and very annoying classes happening right now. And I have other personal stuff that I'm going through and that I have to deal with. But my thing is, when you are feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling like you're having a bad day, don't just shrug it off and throw out some be positive, I have to be positive, I must be positive, I can't think about this, be positive, and then you just continue on with your day and act like that thing or that feeling never happened. Because my friend, that's not positivity, that's dismissal. And if you keep on dismissing the issue at hand, at first it's gonna be pretty quiet. It's gonna be like, hey, you know, there's an issue, I feel some type of way about this. Your body's telling you this and your emotions are trying to talk to you. And at first, you're gonna be like, okay, I can dismiss this. But then it gets louder and louder and louder and louder until you're found in a position that it's so loud you have no option but to listen to it. And when those emotions become so loud that you have no option but to listen to it, that's where crashing happens. And y'all, crashing is hella annoying, okay? It's hella annoying. Recently, I had a crash happen to me, and it was as if like I woke up and I felt like complete, excuse my French, shit. I literally felt like shit. And it was just like all of the emotions that I was pushing away for so freaking long, they just came like va-voom. They just like literally pushed on me like that. And here's the thing, if you're lucky, the crash can happen for like, okay, one day you crash one day, you wake up the next day, you're like, okay, whatever, I can deal with this. If it's like a severe crash and you're not lucky, it can end up staying with you where you're demotivated, you feel like shit for like months, weeks, years, and it can even go into like some very psychological issues that you're probably like, where did this come from? It was from you repressing all of these emotions that you thought that, oh, I can just deal with it just like anyhow, it don't matter, I can just thug it out. Crashes are extremely annoying and tiring is because like there's this extra thing of you're putting on this stress. If you're like me, where you're putting on this stress of why do I feel so bad? I'm not supposed to be feeling this so bad. I'm supposed to be grinding, I'm supposed to be doing this and this and this. That's how things are perceived, especially in our society where it's basically like we're constructed to not have a bad day. It's like we always have to thug it out no matter what, and if we don't thug it out, then there's a complete issue, there's a problem with us. So we're in this state of, why do I have to feel like this? You know what, I have to be positive, I must be positive. The thing is, when you put so much stress on yourself to be positive, at the end you're gonna be more stressed out than you initially were, and you're gonna have a lot more severe and terrible crashes. Okay, so look guys, I have a lot of receipts for this video because I really wanted you guys to understand where I was coming from and that I'm not crazy, okay? But there was a study that was conducted recently in the University of California, Berkeley, that showed that the participants who reacted to negative emotions with self-criticism rather than accepting it ended up adding additional stress. So basically, that was something that I read after my crash. So here's what I learned from my crash, me dismissing my emotions, and me basically dismissing them. Then they basically come back, and then I'm hit with a crash. You saying that be positive and be all of that extra stuff and just you have to just continue grinding. It doesn't matter. Who cares about that? Just continue. I personally think that's not the solution. And I personally think that that's not positivity. That's just not positivity. So, of course, I did not explain this specific part well, but what I was trying to say is that I do not specifically condone people who are crying and just not actually addressing the situation at stake. They're crying back and forth and using their emotions as an excuse to do absolutely nothing. I do not condone that. That is an extreme. And yeah, so let's continue and get onto it. I'm personally not for that. But I'm also not for the other extreme where you're like, not even acknowledging that you have a problem and just being like, I got this. It's like, no girl, I don't think you got it. I feel like instead of using those two extremes for the problem or the issue or the situation at stake, I feel like the way to deal with that is by you accept it and you address it. An example of this is by basically saying, hey, I'm not going through a good time right now. I feel like shit. I'm not good. I'm not okay. It's happening. This is how I feel. However, I can get through this because either I have God or I'm blessed, I'm strong, I can get through this because even in the past I've gotten through bad things like this. And through my strength, my faith, whatever, I can get through this. And I personally feel like that's what true positivity is. Basically being able to acknowledge is a very important word in this situation, because in the other two extremes they weren't acknowledging the problem. You acknowledge the problem, you actually look at the problem in a different light or in different eyes, and you use your new eyes or your new light to work through that problem. And I know sometimes working through that problem or that issue or that stress can be a little annoying. It could take like some time, but trust me, I am living proof. It saves a lot of crash days. It saves a lot of crash days. And that's why in my other video that I talked about, I'm gonna pop it up again, I put a disclaimer where I said that you guys can do all of those things, those amazing things, but when you're ready, take your time. Make sure that you're like dealing with whatever you're dealing with. If you're like stuck in a house and you feel so isolated or depressed, you can have time to like feel it. You feel it, and then after, when you're feeling better, you can go through that motivation where, you know, you're learning a new language, you're learning your Zen, you're doing all that extra stuff, or you're just basically that whole time you were dealing with your emotions, you were basically working on who you were as a person. I feel like working on who you are as a person doesn't only have to necessarily be this extreme of writing a book or doing this or doing that. Like, if you're a person that is angry, or if you're a person that is sad all the time, or you have like extreme anxiety, you know, you read books about it, you watch videos on that. And I feel like that's a great thing to do, specifically during this pandemic. If you're able to find better ways to cope with that, then that's just like that's like the best thing ever. If you guys like this video of me, I guess you want to say reflecting and thinking out loud, make sure you guys press that like button. Comment down below your thoughts on this video, and of course, I want you guys to be honest, okay? Today we're being honest. Tell me how you guys truly feel. Are you guys okay with everything that is happening right now? How are you guys coping with it? Are you guys pushing aside your emotions, or are you guys actually acknowledging it, looking at it in a different light, and actually working through it? I want to know everything down below. We're gonna have a conversation. Just put it down below, okay? Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications if you guys want to see videos on college tips, life journey tricks, reflections, and some thinking out loud time. I didn't even address the fact that I changed, like, I'm like a whole different person right now. Like, I got a new hairstyle, I got my nails I just did these, guys. I want you guys to see them. This is literally me when I feel like shit. I'm like, no, I will not feel like shit, so therefore I will change my hair and do my nails. That is literally what I do. That's literally how I cope with my problems. Also, the next video that will be on, like, choosing your how to choose your career path, I probably gonna post that next week. But if I don't feel like posting it and I feel like it's not necessarily good for what's been going on right now, then I won't post it. I don't know, just tell me what you guys think. Do you guys want to see that video, or do you guys want to see something else that is reflective of what's happening right now? Because I really don't want to post things that don't make sense and don't reflect how I'm feeling. Also, if you have not, whilst you're waiting for this next video, I want you guys to go to my previous video where I basically share a message about what's been happening and the injustice that's happening specifically right now. And my other video where I basically talk about how you can overcome the fear of putting yourself out there. Anyways, guys, stay blessed, stay positive, stay safe, stay educated, because y'all know what I'm talking about. And I will see you guys very, very, very soon. Bye. Look at my nails. I got my nails. Y'all, I can't act normal when I get my nails done. When I get my nails done, you guys probably see a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of hand. I've always done. I do like a lot of hand gestures in general. But now that I got my nails done, oh, it's over. Y'all gonna see a lot of this. Deuces.